Well, I'm Allie from O2X, and we are back here to kind of talk about some tools and strategies and things that you can do to make your day better and to keep getting that 1% better. But I am happy to be joined by Annie Okerlin, one of our yoga and iRest specialists, and the perfect person for some stress reduction right about now. So, Annie, tell us a little bit about you, and then what's going on down in Florida these days.
Hey, Allie, I was not one of those people on the beach in Florida over spring break, although I did see all those people driving around and being a little crazy. But um, I'm still here in Tampa, Florida, and as per usual, I'm teaching my classes into the VA, although they are now done virtually via Zoom, kind of like what we're doing. So I still get to support service members, veterans, active duty service members under acute PTS evaluation throughout the VA system in the country, as well as students all over the country and the world right now. Still teaching a pretty full schedule, almost 2 classes a day, every day, and just inviting everybody to come and try to settle down. I think it's been a really dynamic experience for everybody as we all try to keep going and doing what we've been doing. The hustle is different. It's a little more contained within the security of our homes, but there's also lots of insecurity in terms of health and well-being in our people and our communities and our jobs. So I'm finding in my own experience that thank goodness I have my practice. It looks very, very different, as so does my schedule. And I feel that, it's really important for all of us to kind of keep checking in on each other and checking in on ourselves, which is why yoga and meditation, moving your body. I've actually instituted my own 1% every day, using my TRX every day. Gotta work the guns, keep it all moving. But I'm also monitoring the reality that my desire to slow down and be still, it's kind of a dance right now of, am I being lazy and I want to eat a bag of chips? or is it, I'm cooked and there's so much information and there's so much information that feels overwhelming. And as the mama bear of my tribe and mama bear of other students and teachers, it's intense time. It's an intense time. And so I've been laying on the floor. It's been really good.
That sounds pretty good.
It is
Yeah.
pretty good.
When you talk about kind of that idea of like that slowdown, I think sometimes that brings up anxiety for people. Just we're used to kind of going at full steam and full speed ahead. And so how are you, or how would you talk about kind of managing that? Like we sort of had to slam on the brakes. How do we ease back onto the gas maybe from where we are, or what strategies would you use for that?
That's a really great question, because honestly, I think it's still evolving. The initial shift for me was all of a sudden not being able to go into the VA, not going into yoga studios, not traveling to work with tactical athletes everywhere. And there was a big disappointment and also fear of financial uncertainty, financial insecurity. The reality is that the people that we support are still going every day. Their schedule probably has not changed. If anything, it's expanded. And so I feel like a good beginning is cultivating a new schedule. So what used to feel like a leisurely morning is now setting everything up for the day, and then knowing, okay, I'm going to get out for a walk, or I'm going to do my practice. And I think, especially for our frontline service members and our frontline, police, fire, all of those incredible people that we're supporting, downtime. Because if you think about it, they're in their home and they're worried about their home people all the time anyway, but then they're going out and they're supporting all of us, some of whom are being a little silly and not necessarily listening to what their culture or their city or their state are saying. And they're putting themselves in harm's way even more, almost exponentially than they normally do. And the fear element that everybody has, it feels like to me, is because we can't see it. It's not driving a car. It's not wearing a certain outfit. It is very nebulous. And that causes everybody's nervous system, which is already on high, to kind of go up even more. So I really feel like however much time you can sneak away, even 5 minutes, 5 minutes is golden, to just almost lock yourself in your closet. Because if you think about it, kids are home, dogs are like, whoa, what's happening? My people are all around. Kids are on haywire from, dawn till dusk. And then we're supposed to be normal and doing all of our normal things. And it's really challenging. So even just slowing your breathing down. I'm doing a ton of breathing exercises these days because I want to be the supportive human being that I want to be in my community and in my family and for my friends. And there are days where I'm like, I'm so tired. I just feel cooked because I'm holding that space for so many people. But the reality is, that's my job. That's what I love to do. It fires me up. But I have to self-care even more to be able to keep pace with what is happening. And I think because it's changing so fast, none of us know from minute to minute, hour to hour. So we're all even more connected to our phone and listening to what this person's saying and what's the CDC dropping down and all of that. I just feel like there's a subtle chaos that we might not be in the middle of, or we may be smack in the middle of, but we have to create our own stillness because it's not out there right now. And so anything, sitting on your favorite chair, 5 minutes, close your eyes, and just noticing what you're feeling and being honest with what you're feeling. Because I think it's really normal right now, especially for people who are used to being in harm's way. Now their family's there too. Their whole family, not just here, not just overseas, not just in Canada. The whole world is in a slightly precarious position, and that doesn't feel good. So I think it's really important to be honest, like, this doesn't feel good, but know, like we do in our iRest practice, that there's always that opposite feeling or that opposite emotion, and giving yourself time to feel them individually and then feeling them both is kind of a neat practice to sort of settle the engines down a little.
Yeah, that's great. I think one thing in there that stands out in my mind is that idea of now families are that, if you're a family member of someone who's a first responder, you're kind of used to them going into work and knowing that they're going to face some danger. But that idea that now first responders are also worried about their families. Are there some things that you would say? I know the breathing practice is one, but and maybe you can walk us through what a good breathing practice is that we can do as families, or that kind of the families of first responders can be aware of and helpful with, or ways that we can set up that space that you would recommend?
Absolutely. I like to, especially when it comes to the family unit, we're used to them leaving, doing their job, being proud of them for what they're doing, hoping and making sure that they're safe. But when they come home, now there's that insecurity of, did they wash their hands well? And, all of this stuff. And kids just pick up so much that's not said. They're just much more open than we are. The human condition is still very pure and more joyous than the adult version can sometimes feel. And so I know my son, for example, when he was younger, loved to just lay on the floor and breathe with me. And so one of my favorite things is laying on the floor and putting my legs on the couch. Because one, it's great for your belly. Your lower back releases if you've been standing doing your job, especially doctors and nurses and healthcare workers right now. We've got a lot of lower back issues. Shoulders are dumping. Fear makes us protect our internal organs. So a lot of people are like just exhausted and walk around like this right now. So laying flat on the floor with your legs on the couch can be super delicious for the back and for the shoulders to kind of open that space again. But then the breathing exercise, kids are great with it. You can give them all sorts of things to imagine while they're breathing. One of my favorites with little people is, as they're laying on the ground, tell them, imagine that they're on the beach and they're the ones moving the waves. So as you inhale, the waves come in. As you exhale, the waves go out. Kids are just, they'll breathe for the Olympics. They just loved being involved with that. But one of the big things is that slowing the exhale down, because that's how we engage our body's natural relaxation response, by engaging parasympathetic nervous system. And even though we're running and gunning and doing our thing, the body still has its mechanisms, still knows how to do them. It's just the more we're amped into our sympathetic nervous system, we tend to recalibrate ourselves up into that. So by engaging this parasympathetic nervous system response of slowing the exhale, that it just starts to kind of drop in for people. It doesn't mean it's going to be the most amazing thing you've ever done in your whole life ever in 30 seconds, but it's definitely something every day. Just recalibrate, and recalibrating with the family. If a lot of people, I see tons of people out walking and, getting fresh air. Find your nearest tree or park bench, sit down, do your breathing, and just getting that fresh oxygen into the body, but also just giving the body a chance to slow down. We're not slow right now. And slow, I've noticed, my brain has tried to do it, and I believed it a couple times of, hey, Netflix and a bag of chips, man, we're doing it. That is not the slow that we're talking about, because that just ends in tears ultimately. It's delicious, but it ends in tears, So we don't want the kids jamming out on the chips, because then we'll jam out on the chips too.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. You mentioned iRest, and I definitely want to hear you talk a little bit about that, particularly the benefits of why our first responders should think about if they, I think now is probably a good time to start trying new things into your routine, because there is no such thing as routine. Sort of at
Absolutely.
a point where we can restart. So if you can kind of talk through what iRest is and why, particularly now, it'd be helpful for first responders and really anyone to kind of start bringing it into their practice.
Absolutely. iRest is a guided meditation. It's an old form of yoga nidra, which means yogic sleep or sleep with awareness. In iRest, we took this old and ancient practice and created something a little bit more for the Western mind. But the overall piece of iRest that we've found super beneficial in these types of communities and in humans in general is that it creates a sense and physical and mental state of stillness. That's really hard. We know, most of us, the minute we go to lay down and we close our eyes, the circus of the mind takes over. And we've got like this spinning plates and the animals, and just, you can hear the circus music going. Anytime we give ourselves the opportunity to start to rest, all of our natural functions begin to recalibrate back to a gentle normal. So we know that sleep is so important, especially for our first responders, because that's how the body repairs itself. It's how the mind clears the experience of the day. I read recently a great example. It's the residue of the day gets cleaned up and cleared out in our sleep. And so when you're just moving and shaking constantly for your job, and then you come home and there's still things to do there, the self-care aspect of slowing down and resting goes out the window, and that's really normal. But as you said, this is a new time to schedule. This is a new daily shifting schedule. And so using that iRest that we have on the O2X portal is a great option for one, getting quiet time. Put it on the stereo for the family to listen to. Little kids, again, they'll respond really well. And what's lovely, in a time where it feels unstable, our mind is going to throw a lot of little hurdles out there, like, oh, we don't know what's happening, this is scary, all these kinds of things. And the reality with the iRest practice is that we're remembering, no matter what, we're okay. So by slowing down, we begin to say, that's not an actual real thought. That is fear. This is an actual thought. I can control this part. That's okay. This is just an emotion or an image or an experience that's actually run its course. And so by finding a better picture of our own brain's patterns and experiences, we can really drop into that stillness And by letting the body rest, I mean, think about our firefighters or nurses, everyone's kind of over their work or wearing heavy gear, and with all the face masks and the plastic things, and everything's super binding right now for our people. And so something where you can spread out, find comfort in the body, and then ultimately ease in the mind. I personally feel like it's got to be on the schedule. It's got to have a little spot made for it. And you can literally do a practice that's 15 minutes or one that's as long as 55 minutes. Anything over 45 minutes, sometimes you kind of come out and you're like shouldn't be operating heavy machinery and things like that, you know, but the practice itself is supportive so that when you come out of the practice, you are that alert, awake, vibrant, vital human that you want to be with all of the people that you want to be that way with. And then also you're promoting within the mechanism of your body the ability to go to sleep, because it's done as a practice of stillness and rest in the moment. It'll carry out through the next 24 or 48 hours of your day and week.
Yeah. Would you recommend doing that practice at any particular time of day, or just like whenever?
Grab it while you can.
Yeah.
Grab it while you can. There are practices specifically for sleep, but I don't know anyone right now whose sleep is particularly normal, or particularly consistent, especially our front care workers. They're really, they're falling asleep in hallways, on gurneys, and, in the firehouse in awkward positions. So any way that you can recalibrate yourself internally and externally is super important.
Yeah. We could all use it. Um, would you mind walking us through I know we talk about low and slow breathing a lot in terms of a reset, and you mentioned the extended exhale and kind of resetting your parasympathetic nervous system there. Would you mind just walking us through like maybe a minute of a breathing exercise?
Sure, I will stick my timer on so we know what we're up to. This is one of my favorite breath practices for any human being. Haven't quite mastered how to teach it to a dog yet, but you never know. Dogs are smart. But the idea is that it's a 3-part stacking inhale, not to the point of discomfort, but just kind of an inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, and then with a low, slow exhale. So it really accentuates that parasympathetic nervous system. I teach it for people at stop signs or at a traffic light, or before you go into a meeting, or if you come out of a super stressful experience. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started. So just find a big inhale to inflate the belly and the chest. And as you exhale, let everything start to soften: shoulders, jaw, muscles of the eyes. And take a small inhale into your lower belly and hold it. Inhale a little more air to the middle belly, hold it. Take a full big inhale, add as much air in as you can, rest your shoulders and jaw, hold softly. Exhale everything, nice and slow. Notice the texture, notice what softens. Inhale the lower belly, hold. Inhale the middle belly, hold. Inhale the biggest breath you can fit in the belly chest, rest your face, hold softly. Exhale everything all the way back out. One more round. Inhale, lower belly, hold. Inhale, middle belly, hold. Inhale the fullest belly you can. Again, jaw, shoulders, belly soft. Exhale everything all the way back out. And that was your minute. So most average person can do 3 to 4 rounds of that within a minute. And you can also do it really subtly. So you could do it in, well, not too close to other people right now, but in a larger group of people so nobody thinks you're completely bonkers. But yeah, it's super powerful. And just no matter where you are and what you're doing, just noticing how you're breathing. Because a lot of us will get stressed and the shoulders ride up like earrings, or we clamp our jaws. Especially noticing how you hold tension in the jaw, maybe the mouth, the tongue jamming, those kinds of things. Just those little noticings can add the relaxation response to wherever and whatever you're doing in the moment.
That was great. I feel great now. I
Good.
definitely notice where I hold tension. Um, no, I think this is great and hopefully very helpful for people to just hear what those practices are and how they can use them before. I mean, I could listen to you do breathing exercises all day and just be the calmest person ever, but I know you have a lot of other things to do with your time. Is there anything that you like want to make sure that people hear today that would be helpful to them, or any strategies that you want to make sure we share with people?
I think one piece that's super important is the portal. We've got so much on the portal. I use the portal when I don't want to do a workout. I'm like, oh, when all that drama kicks up and I think, oh, put me on a yoga mat for 24 hours. I don't want to look at my kettlebell's right there. And I'm like, but I know that if I just do it, that's my 1% is just doing it. And extended walks. I've been walking like 4 or 5 miles a day, just air people from a distance. Because I think the connection piece is really important, especially if you live by yourself. Just making sure that you're connecting with people, and asking any questions that come up. You know, we're always manning the emails and the portal questions, and there's so many other amazing specialists on the team that, you know, I feel it was really great to connect with our team, you know, the other day. And it made me realize like, oh yeah, we all need connection, and that's part of our human condition. The beauty of our yoga meditation practice is that we get comfortable and peaceful with ourselves the way that we are, but that need to connect and that need to engage with others is still really, really important. And with so many people working from home, I think that we're all getting a little graspy at like, hey, how are you doing? And trying not to do it necessarily on social media. I love the tool of social media right now, but I get lost in dog videos, and I need, you know, I could play with my kettlebell a little bit more if I got off the dodo videos, you know? So that's my 2 cents worth on that, but stay in
No,
the portal, use what we have.
yeah, perfect. Well, that's great. That was, you covered the last question, which is what's your 1%. So I'm going to hold you to your kettlebell accountability.
And
And
TRX, don't forget that. TRX and kettlebell, that's what I'm doing.
all right, we'll send you some good workouts from the portal with kettlebells and TRX. But thank you for what you do, and with the Exalted Warrior Foundation and everything that you do for our veterans and for the tactical athletes at O2X. We we need you now more than ever. So much appreciated, and thanks for taking the time to share this with us.